Damian Lillard officially asked for a trade and came out a few weeks ago with the news, but apparently he has his eyes set right now just on going to Miami, which is a team that previously has just made the finals. And his agent is calling teams like, I assume he's mostly calling Boston because they have the best trade package for him, and team or Utah, teams like that. Like, if you trade for him, you're going to be trading for a disgruntled star, and he's not going to want to come to camp right away. What are your thoughts on just him using his agent basically like, yeah, don't trade for me?
Part of me feels like it's leverage. He definitely, I would understand someone in Dame's position wanting to go to Miami, wanting to fit into the culture that has been successful the last 20 years. So I don't know if I fully believe if he was traded that he would be that way. However, if what he says is true, it's a little bit of a dink on his legacy, I think, because this is a guy that's preached loyalty for the last 12 years since he's been with Portland. And now that he's ready to leave, he's basically demanding trade me to Miami or else. And that is where I have the issue. If you're looking to win a title, I think a place like Boston would fit very well. And there's other teams that fit the same bill that they do. And ultimately, Portland needs to decide what's going to help them build around Scoot Henderson. So him basically saying trade him to Miami or else, basically get Tyler Hero or else, I think is a little bit of the slap in the face and kind of a ding on what he's been preaching the last decade.
Yeah. And I think especially what he's been preaching is loyalty the past decade. And my problem with these players, I don't have a problem with you asking for a trade. I don't have a problem with you wanting to go somewhere else. And I feel like Dame at this point in his career definitely deserves to go somewhere else. Where I do raise an eyebrow with the whole player empowerment is you need to figure out a way to stipulate your contract where you can opt out each year. And it came out recently that Jaylen Brown wanted like a opt-out clause. So for each year he could opt out. So you don't have someone like Paul George sign Kevin Durant, sign a contract, 2-3 years left on the deal, and they're like, trade me or else. It's like, what do you mean? You signed a deal and it has 4 years on that. So it's like, for me with Dame, it's like, if you were going to leave, the best option for you and the most leverage you have is the less years on your contract. So you were stuck in such a mindset of loyalty. You didn't have a clear vision for Portland ever winning a championship. And if you're at the point now where you want to go ahead and win a championship, that's fine. But you need to think of these things ahead of time. What Kevin Garnett said was, my biggest regret was I didn't go to Boston sooner. And it's like, I told that to Anthony Davis. I told that to Kevin Durant. He tells that to all these stars who are thinking of moving. People were trying to tell this to Dame, but he was kind of in his own world where he's like up in Portland. He makes his rap music. He works out in Oakland with his teammates. But he should have been able to have the foreshadow that this isn't ever going to be a team that's going to help him win a championship. They're never going to be able to attract a free agent. So you got to kind of plan this out better, because the biggest problem with what he's doing I have is you're so loyal and committed to Portland, yet you want them only to trade you to Miami. For who? Tyler Hero? It's like the most leverage they have is he said, I want to play him with Bam and Jimmy. But how do you create a worthy package without Jimmy or Bam for trading to someone with the caliber of Damian Lillard? Because Damian Lillard is a hot commodity. Portland can get a really good package from Boston, Utah, some of these teams with actual capital and all-star players to give up. You want Tyler Hero, perpetually injured guy who's more of like he's more popular than he is good. It's kind of like there's some rappers that are more popular than they are good at making music, even though it's like they more like thrive on personality, you know?
Yeah.
But you need to think about this ahead. Like, I hated when Kevin Durant did it. What Paul George did, like, didn't like it. And then it's also hugely hypocritical because you asked for a trade in the worst way possible, where now that he asked for a trade, Paul George comes out and he's like, wait a minute. When I asked for a trade from Oklahoma City to LA, you said we were all running for the grind. Like, we're all running from the grind. And that's what Dame kept saying. And Dame kind of like had this I'm better than you complex because I'm staying in building. And then Paul George said, but now you want to be sent to the team that was just in the finals last year. That is crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think Paul George has a right to say that too. I mean, granted, he was the same guy that signed a max contract and immediately asked for a trade a year later. But for Dame, it's like, this is why I say it dinks his legacy. This is a guy that's been preaching loyalty with Portland for the last decade and a half, it feels like. And now he's basically holding them hostage, saying, I'm not going to accept a trade anywhere else. And it's going to a team that won a game in the finals. It was only 3 wins away from an NBA championship without you. This is a team that's been successful without you. You're chasing a team that has been probably the best run franchise the last 15 years. They won one in 06. They won two in the early 2010s. So it's like, this is ridiculous. And now, like I said before, I think that he has a good championship window with other teams. A team like Boston could package a Jaylen Brown, multiple picks, multiple seconds, even throw in a Peyton Pritchard. A team like that would work. Or even a team, even like the Sixers, they could offer Tyrese Maxey potentially.
Yeah.
Or maybe they do a sign and trade with James Harden. Like, there's more teams that could give him a better deal.
Yeah, Harden wouldn't do that, but
I don't think Harden would do that. But that's a package that could be offered for him.
Yeah, Paul George could probably get moved to Portland too for him, which would be kind of hilarious.
Ironic.
Yeah. But yeah, my thing is, you can't go out there and talk shit and have this "I'm better than you" complex, and then be like, "Oh, I want to go to the team that was just in the finals," and you did it in the dumbest way possible because Gabe Vincent and Max Strus saw that and they're like, oh, we're not signing again with Miami, because if we do, we're going to be in the package that goes to Portland and we don't want to play there. Max Strus is like, I'm going to chill out here in Indiana, probably go in studio with Pat McAfee, probably what he had in mind when he signed with the Pacers. And then Gabe Vincent's like, I'm going to hang out in LA, because if you can't be in Miami, next best option is probably going to be LA for that lifestyle. So I think it's dumb, and I also think it's limiting himself, because Boston could trade for you and actually have depth. I think the huge problem with him going to Miami is going to be they don't have anyone to trade for him, and then you'd probably have like a 6-7 man rotation on that team consisting of Bam, Kevin Love. We got rid of Victor Oladipo in a trade already, Jimmy Butler, and then Kyle Lowry is probably going to be gone, and he's really old and gave you really good minutes. So I don't like it. And it feels like Melo when he forced his way to the Knicks, and then he got to the Knicks and it's like, oh, I'm playing with Raymond Felton and Tyson Chandler and Amon Shumpert.